May 31st, 2019.
This is Nerd Bourbon episode 104. I'm Seth Sturgill.
And I am a sleepy boy. Todd Sturgill.
I know you are, Todd. That's all right.
I dead ass didn't want to wake up.
Let me tuck you in.
Sure.
Give you some warm milk.
Oh, fuck no.
That was always weird to me. Whenever like people were like, "Oh, I want some warm milk" or whatever in like cartoons and stuff. That sounds so unappealing to me.
Sounds disgusting.
Have you ever actually like microwaved or milk or anything like that?
No, because I just did. I already don't like warm or hot beverages.
Well, it gets like a film on the top. I'm just like, ugh. How does this comfort people? There's nothing comforting about that to me. Because I used to do like hot chocolate in the microwave, and I would microwave the milk and then add like cocoa powder to it or whatever. But then yeah, like if you put it in there for too long, the milk gets all gross. I'm just like, what's wrong with you people? How's this put you to sleep? Todd, what are your go-to methods of falling to sleep?
Nightcap.
That's fair. It's on brand.
And also the poor man's NyQuil.
That's true. Have we ever told that story?
No.
I don't even remember what we got. This is like years ago. Years ago. We were in like an Xbox Live conversation with like, I think it was me, you, and like maybe Dan. And I think somebody brought up like the topic of masturbation. And I just go, yes, the poor man's NyQuil. Somebody's talking about how like like I masturbate to fall asleep or whatever. Like, yes. The poor man's NyQuil, and it's been referred to as such.
It works.
Ever since.
Sometimes I do a combination.
Oh, God. You utilize the whiskey in the process? Oh, no.
I drink it while.
Oh, God. I just like take my other hand and hold the shot glass and I just lap it up a little bit. Like a dog. Oh, this is off the rails. It only took us 2 minutes to go off the rails this week. I think that's a record. We've got a lot of news to cover. I feel like I'm so buried in news this week that I debated on opening this episode with a bit where I pretended like I was James Franco in 127 hours. And I'm just like fucking buried in news, dude. I feel stranded. I feel like I'm lost in a desert canyon, surrounded by news, like hungry wolves. I feel overwhelmed. We are in the pre-E3 weeks. It's an exciting time, for video game news. But it's also a very busy time for video game news. Especially since, like, things are either getting announced just before E3. Rumors are coming out like wildfire. We were just discussing. I did not put this in the rumor or in the news roundup rather, because it is just a rumor. But we were just discussing. There's news of like a Borderlands 2 DLC coming out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. To the point where it even has like a title.
Yeah, it's like what is it like Commander Lilith or something?
And it's the Battle for Sanctuary or some shit like that.
Yeah, like. There's all this weird, like, all this stuff, kind of like, there's an air permeating the weeks before E3, and it produces a lot of news, an overwhelming amount of news. So we're going to get into all that, but first, Todd, as we always do, tell me what you've been playing. Will you please?
I've been playing a whole lot of Nioh.
That's right.
I got back into Nioh 1 because of the other thing I've been playing, which is the alpha for Nioh 2.
You got that precious email that's like, I thought that was so funny because you Snapchatted me telling me that you got into the alpha for Nioh 2, and I was like, I wonder if I did. And I check my email, I see nothing. I go into my junk, and it's like, you have been chosen. I'm like, oh, okay.
And yeah, Nioh 2. Now that's so far that is a proper sequel in my mind. It's got enough to there's enough like new mechanics in the game, but it's still it's still Nioh,
Right.
And honestly, the combat, the level design in Nioh 2 is just like way better than I remember. Like, well, now that I'm like playing through Nioh again, it's definitely better. Like, I was having issues with just like the initial level that I was on in Nioh 1, where I'm like trying to figure out where the fuck to go. But Nioh 2, man, that like the addition, I don't really care for the whole character creation. I know a lot of people really wanted that. It's cool that it's a thing,
Yeah.
you know. I'm looking forward to like more of the story beats, actually, like why the fuck you can go like turn into a yokai.
Right. That ought to be
That
interesting.
that's kind of my, because so yeah, so the yokai, like it's called was it the yokai shift is what it's called, and that takes the place of the living weapon
Uh-huh.
mechanic in Nioh 1, but it's still tied to guardian spirits, like the living weapon was. So guardian spirits are still a returning factor, and then but instead of that, you do a yokai shift. Then there's also yokai skills, which you can get from collecting spirit cores from yokai, and you will basically be able to do yokai-esque abilities. Like shit, my favorite one is like I was fighting this forget the name of it, but it's this one-legged hopping bastard. And you basically, yeah, you do this flip in the air and just do a ground pound. And it's
Now, is it just a quick like maneuver that you do as these? Do you actually transform into these
no,
yokai?
so with the yokai shift, you straight transform into a yokai, and it seems like I don't know if there's going to be more than the 3 yokai forms that I've seen.
Uh-huh.
But it seems like there are 3 forms that are tied that are going to be tied to the guardian spirits. So there's the brute, which is like the slower, probably does more damage one. There is this feral one, which is like he kind of runs around with like 2 daggers and he's like fast. Then there's this phantom, which he has a lot more ranged shit going on.
Okay.
So those are the 3 that I've seen in the alpha, and they're all cool. I still prefer the brute because it's just pretty simple. I just kick people's asses. But then yeah, with the yokai skills, you get a little bit of shit going on with it looks like I get like the 1 foot effect like when I do that skill a little bit. But the other thing that's cool is the yokai realm stuff, which kind of was a thing in the first game, but they do it so much. It's so much cooler. Like there are entire like areas of the level that are just completely covered in this like fog. And I'm looking forward to the story beats of this. Is like when you're in a yokai realm now, like you have a little like yokai horn, like
Mm-hmm.
demon horn, like kind of glowing out of you. Like you're not like even when you're not in like the yokai shift, it's like you're gonna like got like an effect on you, like
So
something like
your character must have some sort of connection.
yeah. That's the thing. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing like what the story beat is on that because I'm genuinely interested. And other than that, like there's not really that many new mechanics. Like I think the only issue I had playing the alpha was the way the skill tree is laid out,
Right.
and that was like my main issue. It grew on me as I kept on playing. I prefer like the Nioh ones where it's just kind of like where it was just kind of a list down of skills instead of like it branching out like from the center. I've never been a big fan of skill trees that like branch out. I
Like
like
just overly complicated.
yeah, it's kind of like hard to read. I gotta like sit there and like glance over everything. It's like the list makes it a little easier, personally, just going straight down. But I mean, if they go with the branch out, I'm fine with it. I can get over it. Because honestly, the rest of the game was pretty. I was having a lot of fun because they've added like new weapon types, which is like there's like these yokai weapons that are like drops from certain yokai, and then that has a new like honestly, I think you heard me playing, and I'm like, what's this? What's sentience or whatever the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like sitting there acting like a fucking giddy schoolgirl like playing this game. I was like, what's all this new shit?
It led into an interesting conversation about like why you're enjoying this so much more than Sekiro.
Yes, yes, yes. Because I even said it. Like the sentence that came out of my mouth was, "Why am I enjoying this alpha demo way more than I ever enjoyed Sekiro?"
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's the flow of combat. I know myself. Like I like a good combat, and I don't like the fact that Sekiro's combat is solely focused on deflection.
Yeah.
That bores me, and it's just like they're like, oh, but you can play that game without deflecting, and I'm like, what? Make the game harder
I
than it
would
needs
say
to be?
not really based on what I've seen.
Yeah, because like you honestly, deflection is key in that game, and it's just not the combat that I was looking for. With Nioh, you get the stances, you get the different moves to do, like the combo into stuff. Like Nioh has a, I'm not gonna. It's like it's just way more in depth to me, and like now even like with Nioh 2, the addition of like yokai skills and like all that stuff, like it's just a better experience, and that got me into playing like jumping back into Nioh 1 and like playing through the final DLCs that I didn't fucking play through. And shit, feels good. Been having a lot of fun. Like playing it again. Neo's good shit. Also, I think another reason I like Nioh is because it's like a loot based game, and I like loot.
Yeah, that's true. I'm curious. I mean, like, it's sort of become like this weird, like, introspective experience for you. Being a huge Souls fan, as it were,
Oh
because
yeah,
Nioh is sort of a Souls-esque game. And then, like, Sekiro coming out, you're very hyped for it. It's a From Software game, blah, blah. It's a Miyazaki game. And then it's like, didn't really click for you.
no, it didn't click for me at all. Like, I mean, like it's like I'm not gonna say like I only played like I played like a solid like 5+ hours,
Yeah.
and it's just oh man, it's like if I can't get into a game after that amount of time, it's over, man.
Well, then
It's
it
the same
starts
thing.
to...
It was the same thing with Days Gone. Like
Right.
it's like I'm putting the time in. It's just like if it doesn't click, it doesn't click.
It starts to call into question a little bit when you first have that experience of like, oh wow, like is there something wrong with me a little bit, like I think for a little while there you're kind of like what changed in me, and it wasn't even necessarily that. It was just like now that you've played Nioh 2, it has kind of answered that question of like, oh no,
It's not
like
me.
it's not
It's
me.
just
Sekiro is just missing something that these other games have.
yep. Because honestly, I played Bloodborne recently, and I'm like, still love this game. Like,
Right.
still love the way this feels. Like, I love the way I played Dark Souls 1, like on the channel, like a while back, like the remastered. Still enjoyed that. It's whatever. Sekiro is just missing something for me, and I just
Well, that's upsetting. I'm looking forward to trying that game one day and talking about it because it's just but it's been interesting to see you go through this sort of journey because it is ostensibly, I mean, these are your favorite genre of games, these sort of like hardcore sort of Souls-like action combat heavy games.
but I love them.
So it has been interesting for me to see you shaken to your core by these.
It's like it's in a way you're not wrong. Like the way I was looking at it for myself is just like if I don't like, am I not enjoying the games that I love anymore? Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like
And you could tell, I mean, probably even listeners could tell, if you've been listening for the past, month or two, the just sort of like whenever Sekiro comes up or even like Days Gone, it's like kind of like a depressed tone of like I want to enjoy
dude,
this stuff.
it's a level. It's like I felt like I was like in a funk, man. I'm like am I just like not enjoying? I'm like do I need to go to the fucking do I need to go to a doctor, get my shit checked out, get on some antidepressants type of bullshit?
It's just like, yeah, like when you're playing Nioh 2 and now Nioh 1, I guess, you could tell that the spark is back a little bit for you.
Yeah.
You're enjoying yourself playing video games again. You're not just doing the mindless shit just to get by. You're actually enjoying a game.
Yep.
Actively looking forward to Nioh 2 now.
Oh yeah.
Has that become a day one purchase for you?
85% chance.
Yeah. Okay. What else have you been playing?
I'm trying to think, honestly. I mean, a little For Honor here and there. Same shit, different day.
Still grinding on that?
I'm not really grinding at this point. It's like what if I level up, I level up. I don't really care. Occasional Monster Hunter, getting the hype, getting in the hype for
Just keeping
Iceborne.
those wheels greased.
Well, dude, videos have been coming out, man. Of like well, some of the bigger Monster Hunter guys have been uploading videos about new moves with certain weapons and master rank armor, which is bro, the Rathian shit, just the Rathian armor that I've seen. Oh god.
So do these guys have like way early access to Iceborne?
I think they're just like finding I think they're just like videos that are coming out and they're like just doing like these in-depth shit that because honestly I'm not paying attention to like the trailers and shit right now.
So they're just like hyper analyzing footage.
Yeah,
that is
hyper
released by
analyzing the fuck
Capcom.
out of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thing is though, dude, if this is the master rank shit, some of this armor, ooh, this shit looks good. The fashion will be undeniable, dude. The fucking it looks. The one of them looked like it would be the Otogaron. Oh my god.
Interesting.
Like, and then I'm looking forward to like the new shit with like that. It's called the Clutch Claw. Said that shit where they're like you pull yourself onto a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how that all plays out. God, I'm ready for that game.
When is it? It comes out like early September, right? Like September 6th, I think.
Comes out in a very shitty day, shitty month for me.
Yeah, a week before Borderlands. So, but I mean, September 6th, I mean, that's barely 3 months away at this point. So, you do not have all that long to wait. You know what? I've been in, I'm approaching the 90-hour mark now in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And I'm close to being done. I actually have, finally, I have completed all of the locations and all of their objectives in the game. The game's world is fucking huge. So now, it's now I can finally play the game. Now I'm actually doing side missions and story missions and stuff like that. And still having a good time. But I'm finally starting to wind down a little bit with Odyssey. So that's happening. I've been playing in my kind of computer time. I've been playing Hearthstone a lot again lately because as I talked about last week on the show, I've got a WoW bug up my ass, really bad right now. I really want to play WoW, but not WoW in the state that it's in right now. So I'm getting my Warcraft itch scratched effectively by Hearthstone. And I'm actually doing way better than I thought I would because the way the game is structured now is so much more friendly for jumping back in than it used to be because now there's the whole... I mean, they always had the sort of wild system, but now they limit... When you do classic play, they limit between classic cards and cards that came out in the past 2 years. So it's a lot more balanced than it could be. You can't go on normal play and just use fucking everything. You can't do that. You can go into wild play and use everything if that's what you want to do, but that's when you start getting the really stupid decks. I like to just do classic and I hold my own relatively well. I've been playing a lot of ranked lately and just having a good time with Hearthstone again. And I'm actually really surprised. I feel and I don't know if this is because I'm sort of a returning player, but I feel they've given me a lot of gold. I feel they're just shitting out the gold right now.
Trap.
I feel it is because I'm getting all these quests and I'm completing all this stuff and getting all this gold. I've gotten 10 free packs or something like that just since I started.
It's a fucking trap.
It is, dude.
Dude, and every time we're I get off of work and you're playing, he's like, play Hearthstone with me. I'm like, no.
Todd, remember how much fun we used to have in Hearthstone?
It's no, fuck you, fuck off.
I just really love that game. That game is rock solid, man. They've added a ton of shit that kind of runs the risk of breaking that game. And I think if you were to play in Wild with all these people that have just these fucking absurd decks, it is kind of broken, but I really love playing like with my classic deck. I literally don't use any cards. I take that back. I think I use one card that was not available at the beginning of Hearthstone. I think I used literally one card that was not available at that time. So other than that, though, I have a completely classic deck, and I hold my own with it, and it's nice. It's nice that the game is balanced in that way. And I'm just having a good time, like, rediscovering Hearthstone. The other game that I've kind of been playing off and on, this is a weird one. So, my wife and I... So my wife had kind of a medical emergency sort of situation where... I don't want to get into it, but she had to stay home, basically, on bed rest for, like, 5 days. She's fine. There's nothing to be alarmed about, but she was home with me for, like, 5 days. So...
Oh, the humanity. No, I'm just...
Well, it was nice or whatever, and it was nice in some ways, and then in other ways we were, like, definitely trying to, like, kill each other. But it got to the point where, you know, we'd have dinner and the night was kind of winding down. We'd want to play a video game together. And we've got several kind of, like, co-op games. Like, we've got Box Boy and Box Girl that we could play together. We've got, you know, she could jump in Cuphead co-op with me. But the reality is that even if a game is cooperative, in this fucking house, it's still competitive. I don't care if it's co-op or not. It's all games are competitive in this house. So we were looking around the Switch eShop, just desperate to find something that would be something we could play together, but more chill. And for some reason, I don't know why, we landed on Wheel of Fortune. So, $20 on the Switch eShop. Apparently Ubisoft makes these games. And we bought Wheel of Fortune. And it is like, it's funny because like it's Wheel of Fortune, just like it's, you know, like it is functional, it works. But this has got to be like the shittiest rush job ass Wheel of Fortune game that you could possibly imagine. Like, it is buggy, it's ugly. Like, I actually don't even understand why it looks as bad as it does. Like, it looks like a PS2 game. Like, it is just like, but the gameplay is still Wheel of Fortune, and so like we're still kind of having fun with it in a weird way. But I'm just like playing it. We're having it's like a dual layer experience where we're having fun playing Wheel of Fortune against each other, but we're also having fun just making fun of how shitty the game is. It's just like this busted ass, like just gross looking nightmare of a game, but you know, at its core, its bones are still Wheel of Fortune, and Wheel of Fortune is just a fun game show. So we've been kind of tinkering around with that, and I don't know why, but it's been kind of fun. But that's pretty much all that's been going on with me in terms of my video game playing. I've been doing a lot of ramp up for D&D stuff. With all of the D&D stuff I have going on right now, I've got obviously like my main big campaign going on between two groups, and then I'm also working on this sort of like thing that you and I are doing, and I've been focusing a lot on that. What else has been going on? Oh, we saw, so I don't think we'll do a shots on this, but my wife and I saw Aladdin last night at a, you know, kind of a late showing.
So, how was it?
It was very good. I was very impressed with it. Like, I'm not going to get into spoilers or anything, but...
No, I'll say this. Is it because did you go in with low expectations?
No, not at all. In fact, I was actually, as I was seeing stuff coming out from the movie, I was actually like pretty impressed. I was like, okay, like, because...
That was my mentality. I didn't see it. I'm probably just going to wait for it to come out on like a DVD or something.
Yeah.
But like, when I first saw it, I was like, eh. Then as like the trailers were popping out, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Yeah, the very first teaser that we saw, I was kind of like, okay, whatever. But then, yeah, as more things started coming out, I was like, I actually like this. I actually like the vibe. I'll say this. They change a lot of things. They kind of take... So you remember, like, with the live-action Beauty and the Beast, they just added, like, more backstory with Belle and stuff like that, and they kind of changed little things about the story. They do something similar here. I would say that the changes to this story... I would say the changes are even more drastic.
Really?
They actually have made some pretty, like, dramatic changes to the story, but I'll say this. every change that they make in this movie is so smart and makes so much sense. And I think that it make the story, like, you can say whatever you want about, you can't really see this movie without talking about Robin Williams and comparing the animated version to this version. But I think in terms of the raw story, like the way that the narrative beats play out, I would say that the live action version of Aladdin is objectively better in that regard.
Okay.
Like, everything makes more sense, is more realistic, is more true to the characters. Like, they make several changes, and all of them are good. Like, this different take on Jafar, for example, I like so much more than the original's take on Jafar. He's an interesting character in this. His interactions with all the characters make sense. You kind of, like, you don't sympathize with him, but you understand him in this movie. Mm-hmm. He has motivations that make sense. Like, the Sultan is not, like, a bumbling idiot in this one. There's some more, like, realistic...
Hey, I like that bumbling idiot.
No, I liked him. I liked him too, but it's more realistic in this, without betraying. Like, there's still crazy shit. There's still a genie in the movie, which, by the way, Will Smith fucking kills it in this movie. He is so good, dude. He is so good. Like, I was kind of like, again, when we first saw, like, that first clip of his genie, I was like, ooh, I don't like that. But dude, like, seeing him on screen, he is fucking phenomenal. He is so good. Like, he does his own thing with Genie, but I was actually surprised. I was surprised at how many Robin Williams-esque decisions he did make with his Genie. Like, he's still very, like, goofy and all over the place, but he has his own, like, Will Smith kind of flair. I love all of the, like, musical bits that are in the movie. Like, it's fucking great. If you have the capacity, not just you, anybody listening, if you have the capacity to see this movie in theaters, I think you should, because the Friend Like Me section, like the Friend Like Me scene, in just on its own, deserves to be seen on a big screen. It is so good. Like, the movie is colorful and, like, just fun. Like, it's just so much fun. And, like, you know, my wife, we actually watched the animated original on Blu-ray, like, right before seeing this, so we could compare them in our minds. Mm-hmm. And we both walked away saying, like, wow, I think that might actually be an improvement overall. It's hard to compare the two genies or whatever, but, like, in terms of the actual story, like, there's no question in my mind that the live-action Aladdin has a more realistic, more relatable, you know, better paced story than the kind of animated version. So I can't recommend it highly enough. I think it's easily the best live action remake that Disney's done so far. Easily. And don't get me wrong, as excited as I am for Lion King, which is my favorite Disney movie, and I can't wait to see Lion King next month, but it's kind of like, you know, it looks like it's going to be kind of a shot-for-shot remake. And, like, weirdly enough, my favorite things about this were the changes. So now I'm a little bit like, I feel like I'm going to be a little bit disappointed by Lion King if they don't make good changes like Aladdin did. Like, Aladdin surprised me with how many changes they made and how good they all were. So that's my non-spoilery review of Aladdin, I suppose. Go see it. It's really, really good. Even if you're a fan of the original, because my wife, the animated version, that is her favorite Disney movie. And she was very impressed. So, anyway. Enough about that, Todd. I've got so much goddamn news to cover. I feel like we should just drop right into it. Now, I want to say, I'm getting a little fucking annoyed. I'm getting a little... I've kind of like... I'm at my wit's end with this shit, Todd, because a lot of stuff... There are now been 3 things that I have put on my E3 predictions list, which we're going to go over on next week's show. There have now been 3 items that I have had to rescind from my E3 predictions because they have been announced ahead of the show. And I'm annoyed by that. And this happens, you know, usually once or twice, but 3 times now? This is fucking bullshit. And there are things that I'm, like, already wrong about also. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so let's get into this. So, just very briefly, one of my E3 predictions was going to be that we were going to see the reemergence of the Crystal Dynamics Avengers project at Square Enix's press conference during E3 this year. And now, here they are, doing like an announcement of an announcement before E3, saying like, oh, hey, like, tune in because we're going to talk about Avengers. I'm like, well, fuck. That was one of the things I predicted. I was talking to you even privately that one of my predictions was that Microsoft is going to have a 2-hour press conference. And I may have even, I don't remember, but I may have even said it on the show.
I don't remember if you actually did.
I don't remember if I said it on the show, but I for sure, it was in my predictions, and I talked about it to you privately for sure, that I thought Microsoft is going to have a 2-hour show this year. And then they come out and say, oh yeah, we're going to have a 2-hour show. I'm like, well, fuck. And then, fucking, I'm like, all right, I another prediction. I don't think Pokemon is going to have a huge presence in the Nintendo E3 Direct because Pokemon usually has its own Direct either right before or right after E3. And then boom, here next week, we're getting a Pokemon Sword and Shield Direct. So like, what the fuck, man? I'm having to redo like my whole list. So anyway.
Ha ha. No,
that fucking Nelson. Ha ha. So in the vein of that, let's cover some of these sort of like pre-E3 things that have been happening. So the first bit of news I have here is something that by the time you're listening to this is already going to be confirmed because literally like an hour ago, the Call of Duty Twitter account teased a sort of reveal of the next Call of Duty game that is going to be happening tomorrow at the time of this recording, but yesterday at the time you're hearing this. You following me?
What'd you just say, motherfucker? No,
So, in other words,
Thursday?
on May 30th, they're going to be revealing the next Call of Duty game. So, and it seems like this year's kind of upcoming Call of Duty game is going to be called simply Call of Duty Modern Warfare, right?
So what, are they rebooting the Modern Warfare franchise?
Yeah, so we had heard that this was going to be a continuation of Infinity Ward's Modern Warfare series a long time ago. It seems like this is going to be kind of a soft reboot of the series. Jason at Kotaku reports that the game's campaign is going to be heavily focused on troubling, realistic, emotional moments, citing the No Russian moment from Modern Warfare 2 as inspiration for the game's campaign.
Hey, that's ballsy. I'm okay with it.
So it sounds like they're really going to like double down on that. Now, again, this has already been revealed by the time you're listening to this, but Todd and I don't know about it yet. So, I mean, this could be totally wrong. I don't think it is. I think it's...
I mean, if that's right, I'm gonna want to play the campaign.
Yeah,
because
I think that'd be interesting.
That's some ballsy shit. I want to play. I like that's the type of shit I want to play.
I'm very interested to see this reveal tomorrow and see how much they show, and see if they really are going to be as ballsy as the No Russian thing. 'Cause that was like downright controversial when that came out.
Oh yeah, dead ass controversial.
So they say that this is going to be that mission in Modern Warfare 2 was the inspiration, the sort of kickoff point for this campaign. It's going to be filled with kind of emotionally disturbing moments. So I guess we'll see. The soft reboot thing, a lot of people are butthurt about the title. A lot of people don't like that it's just called Modern Warfare. But
the title, I'm a little.
I mean, who cares?
It's like the whole thing. It's like when fucking Battlefield was like Battlefield 1. It's like what?
Yeah, it's like somebody made there's a funny tweet that's like, all right, I guess I'm gonna go play, BRB, going to go play God of War now. Like this kind of stuff just happens when you do a soft reboot. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
Ultimately, who cares? It's a title. Who gives a fuck? I don't know.
Well, obviously people give a fuck.
They do, but it's not they're not going to gain or lose a single sold copy of that game based on its title. So, I don't know. I'm looking forward to learning more. Again, you guys will already know if this is like real or not. I'm assuming it is. It's one of those worst kept secrets things, where like there's been so much talk. It's like I always say, when there's enough smoke, there's got to be a fire somewhere. There's been so much talk about, this being a sort of reboot of the Modern Warfare series. So we'll see. We will see. So some more pre-E3 news. I was immediately wrong about something that I had in my sort of E3 predictions that I was actually going to delete anyway because Sony, of course, is skipping E3 this year. I did have a couple of Sony things peppered in there, but I was like, oh, maybe I should just delete this because Sony's not even going to be at E3, you know? But, you know, I've long said that I'm like, Death Stranding, it's coming out in 2020, right? No. Hashtag Seth was wrong, Todd. Did you see this trailer?
I saw. I didn't watch it, but I saw that it was a thing.
Yeah, so just because Sony is going to be absent from E3 this year, it's not stopping some of their biggest developers from dropping news. So Kojima, you know, long awaited Death Stranding. We've heard about this game. We've seen like nothing of this game for forever now. Got a like 9-minute trailer today that reveals that the game is coming on November 8th, 2019. Coming as a huge surprise to a lot of people, myself included.
Hashtag Seth was wrong.
I firmly, and you know what? I still think it might get pushed.
You doubt Kojima?
Are you kidding me? Of course I do. I love Kojima, and I'm totally on board with Death Stranding. I'm very on board with this. I can't wait for the game, but I'm at this point where I'm like, man, like I still see it slipping. But anyway,
the only reason I want to play that game is it's Kojima Unchained.
Oh my god, it looks absurd. I mean, it looks crazy.
Bridge baby.
So again, hashtag Seth was wrong, but was Seth wrong? Because Jason Schreier, again, we quote Jason Schreier all the time. He's the Oracle.
The one true journalist.
He notes on Twitter that The Last of Us Part 2 was initially planned for Sony's fall 2019 release slot. He has since heard that The Last of Us Part 2 has now effectively switched places with Death Stranding, which now lands The Last of Us Part 2 somewhere in early 2020. Jason thinks February 2020 is going to be The Last of Us Part 2. So
okay.
We kind of expect that we're going to hear some Last of Us 2 related news in the coming days. There have been rumors that we're going to get a new trailer, new gameplay, a sort of final release date, an early 2020 release date for Last of Us 2. And it seems like Sony kind of switched those two games on the docket. And I think the reason for that, I think they were happy to have either game in either place. When you think about it, pushing a game like 3 months isn't really that big of a deal. But I think in Sony's perspective, putting out a Kojima game, it's going to sell well anywhere you put it. Or rather, it's going to sell what it's going to sell no matter where you put it. You can stick that game in November and like it could very well be coming out the same day as Call of Duty. But who cares? The Call of Duty audience is not necessarily the Death Stranding audience. The Kojima fans are the Kojima fans, and they're going to buy Death Stranding regardless of when it comes out. But when you look at something like The Last of Us, it's got a little bit of more of a cross-pollination between some of these other games that are coming out in that time frame, and also we just got Days Gone just a few months prior. You know, so I think putting a little bit of distance between the other PlayStation exclusive zombie game is a good idea. Because if The Last of Us Part 2 is coming out in February, there will be almost a year between it and Days Gone, and I think the world will be ready for another PlayStation exclusive zombie game. So I think it was probably smart of Sony to do that. Make Death Stranding their big kind of like fall release, and you know, go from there. I'm shocked. I'm surprised that it's ready this quick. But you know what? Thinking about it some more, maybe I shouldn't be, because the game is running on the Decima engine from Guerrilla. So Jason noted on Twitter, like when people are kind of surprised that it's coming out this year, Jason's like, well, trust me, if Kojima had to build his own engine from the ground up, the game would have taken a lot longer. Because him being able to make use of the Decima engine really killed a lot of the development time off of this game. Like, it really helped this game come to the finish line. So, Death Stranding, November 8, 2019. Is that something you think you're going to fuck with? You going to play that?
What, Death Stranding?
Yeah.
Yes, this the witness Kojima Unchained. Yes,
Now, you didn't actually watch the trailer, right?
I watched like the first like 10 seconds, like first like maybe a couple minutes of it.
The game looks weird, man. Like, the game looks bonkers. And
I said something about. I did mention the bridge baby.
yes, yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. So there's that, but like it seems like so there was actually a couple days ago somebody had posted that they knew sort of like the story layout of Death Stranding and like what everything meant. And now it seems to be more or less confirmed because in the opening moments of the trailer, you see Norman Reedus' character and there's like this sort of like rainstorm following him.
Yeah.
And it hits these birds and it causes these birds to like die, right? And it seems like there was an event that happens called like the time fall or something like that. And essentially it is rain that causes things to rapidly age and die. So and this there's some sort of like weirdness going on between like parallel universes and like there are certain people who have links between both universes, and there's like this weird shit. But one thing that I found really interesting was this is a post-apocalypse in which the only thing that can sort of protect you from the timefall, this like aging rain, basically, is plastic. So if you look, all of their like gear and stuff is like plastic.
Mm-hmm.
And like I find that very interesting because the idea essentially is like throwing away all this plastic is like kind of what like spurs the end of the world. Like it's kind of like what's fucking us over as a race. Like all this sort of like it's sort of a comment on like the wastefulness of humanity and stuff like that. But then you turn around and now plastic is what saves us. I find that interesting. I find that to be an interesting kind of idea. So the game seems like it's going to be a third person. There is definitely shooting. Like we saw footage of him using a gun. But it seems to mostly be like exploration and stealth.
Mm-hmm.
Where Norman Reedus is like a delivery boy of some sort. And he's going over this like vast landscape. And it seems like you're just sort of trying to survive. I don't know. It's weird. It's a very weird game. And I can't wait. I can't wait to dive into it. And also, there's a character called Die Hard Man, and that's like all I care about. This is just so, as you said, this is Kojima Unhinged, Kojima Unchained, and I can't wait to see more. So, November 8th, that's when that's coming out.
All that power.
You're right. So this was weird. I'm curious to see if you'd be interested in this. So this happened kind of like right after we recorded last week's episode, but I'm so intrigued by this that I wanted to make sure it made it into this week's news roundup. Firewatch publisher Panic is entering the video game hardware space with a quirky little machine called Playdate. Did you see this?
Yeah, I did.
So it's this like small handheld device. It's got a simple black and white, I think it's a 400 by 240 resolution screen, a D-pad, 2 buttons, and on the side of it there's a mechanical crank. What do you make of this?
I mean, out of everything that I read, it's a cool idea. I'll pass. That's my mindset.
I think it's fucking awesome because I love this idea of like so the system is going to cost $150, $149, and it's going to include. Panic is saying that there's going to be like a season of 12 games that will be delivered once per week over the course of 12 weeks to the system, and they've tapped developers like Keita Takahashi from Katamari, Bennett Foddy, like these kind of like developers that are making games for the Playdate, and basically once a week. You're just going to have these games randomly sort of delivered to your system, and you're just going to have a new game to play on this weird little device. And I don't know, there's just something like, there's something cool about it. Like, there's something cool and weird and unique about it that I really like. We don't know when it's coming out. We don't know the technical, like the sort of specs of the machine. We don't know if they're going to do future seasons. You can sign up on their website to get notified, when more information is available. But I'm kind of on board with this. I kind of love this idea. I like weird shit like this. And I can't wait to see what some of these developers do with this hardware. Like, I want to see what Bennett Foddy, playing Getting Over It. I'm like, I want to see what the guy that designed Getting Over It does with a machine that has a crank on it.
It's just gonna be more of an asshole.
I just want to see that. So I think it's a really cool idea. This is interesting. So according to BuzzFeed, this broke last week, Lucasfilm has tapped the writer of Alita Battle Angel to tackle a Knights of the Old Republic movie. Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't.
So I don't want to butcher her name. Her name is, I guess, Leita Kalogradis? I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce it. But she was the writer of Alita Battle Angel, which actually I heard was pretty good. BuzzFeed says that she is, quote, close to finishing the script, and that the movie could be the first of a potential Knights of the Old Republic trilogy of movies. This is actually not unprecedented, because Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy was interviewed by MTV News last month about the potential of KOTOR in the film space, to which she replied, quote, "We talk about that all the time. Yes, we are developing something to look at. Right now, I have no idea where things might fall," end quote. So it seems like...
Hawkeye from Endgame, don't give me hope.
It seems like there may be some sort of movement in the KOTOR space, in terms of Star Wars movies. And that this...
Don't give me hope.
This could be the groundwork of a new trilogy. So, I don't know, man.
Give me Revan. Give me Revan on screen.
That's what I'm saying is, like, are they going to be following the plot of the video games? A lot of people are already like, I want Keanu Reeves as Revan,
Dude, yes.
So, there's already all this, like, kind of, like, hype and speculation. I mean, KOTOR has a very, like, movie-ready story already.
Yeah.
Like, that movie is ready to be made. You know what I mean? And you could even...
But I feel like they could go further back and just do, like, before the game,
Yeah, you could do all of the lead up. Well, I don't even know if you want to do that, because so much of the good twist of KOTOR is not knowing that the main character is Revan.
That would be a baller move to do actually on screen for, like, people that have never played the game.
I would have to imagine that the vast majority of people that would go to see that movie would not have played the game.
Would not have played the game, so that twist would be fucking like, what?
Right. That the person that you've been following.
I think we've talked about it. It's like that twist when we were playing it when we were kids. It's like, holy shit.
Oh, it blows your fucking mind. It absolutely blows your mind. So, like, I have to imagine that would have to be the ultimate route to go with the movie, because you do have Keanu Reeves playing this main character, and by the way, I think that'd be great casting. I would love to see him in a Star Wars movie. What?
Exactly.
And you follow the sort of light side path. You follow all the stuff like the early game stuff, working with the hidden Becks and rescuing Bastila and all this stuff. And you do build up all this stuff, building him as like a light side Jedi acolyte. And then, midway through the movie, boom, you reveal that he was fucking Revan the whole time. Mm-hmm. That would be so baller. I would love to see them do that. And then you could even, literally, there are 2 Knights of the Old Republic games. I mean, if the first movie's successful, then, you got another one just waiting to be made. I'm excited by the prospect of this. I wonder how long it's going to be before we see anything move in this space. If they're going to make it I could even sort of see them making this a movie for the Disney Plus service. Like, rather than making this a wide theatrical release. So, I don't know. I'm very intrigued. I love the idea. I mean, we both love KOTOR, so.
Wish I could still play it.
Right. Speaking of movies, the Sonic the Hedgehog movie has officially been delayed to Valentine's Day 2020.
Can I say something? I honestly, I'm gonna see this movie out of respect now.
Okay.
Like dead ass. Like originally, I was like, I'm gonna pass, but the fact that they actually like are gonna rework on that fucking design,
Yes.
I'm gonna see it out of respect.
Yes. So according to a tweet from the director, Jeff Fowler, he says, quote, taking a little more time to make Sonic just right. Hashtag no VFX were harmed in the making of this movie. End quote. So gotta give credit where credit's due. I still sort of feel like at least a little bit of this was a marketing ruse.
But you know what? Shit,
But hey.
it worked. Got my ass ready to watch it now.
Yeah, but hey, again, you got to tip your hat to them a little bit for doubling back on that and tweaking the design. And as a matter of fact, if you look at the tweet so he accompanied the tweet with a sort of picture of Sonic holding up a sign that says February 14th, 2020. And
Does he have gloves?
Yeah, and he has gloves in the picture.
Yes.
So a lot of people are like, does that mean that the new redesign he's actually going to have gloves and stuff like that? So very.
I'm looking forward to seeing the redesign, and I'm again out of respect, I'm gonna see it now.
Yeah, I mean, I was always going to see it because I just want to see the train wreck.
Oh, it's. I think it's still gonna be a train wreck.
Any problems that movie is going to have, as bad and weird as that movie is going to be, is not going to be fixed by a Sonic redesign. All right, but I do have to sort of tip my hat, and for better or for worse, hey, they're gonna make they're gonna do right by the fans. It sounds like, in terms of the design, anyway.
Yeah,
and it's Valentine's Day, dude. You're never gonna get more hot and heavy with a woman than taking her to see Sonic the Hedgehog. And tell you what, all those babies born November 2020. You know what started it.
well, you take her to see Sonic the Hedgehog, then you show her your hedgehog.
That's right. Then you show her your collection of Sonic the Hedgehog porn.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Jesus. So, moving on. I don't want to talk too much about Sonic the Hedgehog porn, Todd. I don't want our audience to abandon us too much. We started the show with masturbation talk, and we're ending it with Sonic porn. Okay, I got two more pieces of news. So, earlier this week, the Pokemon Company held a press conference in Tokyo, and it was something. Did you read about any of this stuff?
No, I don't know the deal.
So this will be news to you. Buckle up, Todd. Buckle up. I'll ease you into it. I'll go from like the least weird announcement to the most weird announcement. How's that?
Go for it.
So during the conference,
actually reverse that.
Oh, so you want me to go weird first?
Yes.
Okay. So during the conference, Pokemon Company announced several things. These things range from new games to hardware to even services. The weirdest thing is called Pokemon Sleep. And well,
okay, I did see that in the ether. I didn't really read into it. So like, what's the deal with that?
I'm just gonna read you this quick press release because it's just too bizarre for me to even like normally when I consume news, I try to take my own spin on it and like kind of type it into my notes to read on the show.
There's no way you can spin on this.
This took no hold in my brain. I couldn't even comprehend what I was fucking reading. So I am just going to read you the press release and we'll just go from there. So this is a press release from the Pokemon Company regarding Pokemon Sleep. Soon, trainers will be able to wake up with Pokemon every morning with Pokemon Sleep, a mobile app from the Pokemon Company. Pokemon Sleep aims to turn sleeping into entertainment by having a player's time spent sleeping and the time they wake up affect the gameplay. While more details about the app's functionality will be revealed at a later date, it was announced that a new device from Nintendo, Pokemon Go Plus Plus, will connect to Pokemon Sleep and launch with the app. The device will use an embedded accelerometer to track a user's time sleeping and send this information to their smartphone via Bluetooth. This new device also has the same functions as the original Pokemon Go Plus, so trainers can use it with Pokemon Go during the day and with Pokemon Sleep at night. Trainers can look forward to Pokemon Sleep launching for mobile devices in 2020. To celebrate this early look at Pokemon Sleep, trainers around the world will have the chance to encounter Snorlax that are lying down and deep in sleep in Pokemon Go beginning today. So that's the press release.
All right.
So, essentially... Ugh. Oh, my head. I feel like Psyduck right now reading this press release. I have a splitting headache. Essentially, the Pokemon Company has developed an app that is going to somehow affect gameplay based on your time spent sleeping. You're going to go to bed and you're going to wake up with Pokemon if they have it their way.
How is it going to know I'm sleeping?
That's the question, isn't it? They're going to sell you this Pokemon Go plus shit. Whatever the fuck this is. It's like a little hardware device that looks identical to the Pokemon Go Plus that they've already released. Like, it looks like a little Pokeball, basically. And I guess it tracks your sleep, and it sends that data to your phone.
I don't like it. I don't like shit like that.
I'm just like what's next? Like, is the Pokemon...
I'm gonna be honest, guys. I don't like anything that tracks what I do.
Well, I don't like that either. But I'm also just like what? Like, what is the point? Are you just trying to, like... I don't know if this is, like, a health-conscious move. Like, are they trying to convince gamers to get more sleep? Is that the whole thing? Because if you play certain Nintendo games, especially 3DS games... I can't give you, like, a good example of this, but I know that there are some games where after, like, a few hours, it'll be like, you should take a break, you know? Take a break, rest your eyes. So I'm wondering if this is in response to that. And then also, I don't know if you remember this, but several years ago, Nintendo was trying to develop some, like, health-conscious technology called, like the Nintendo Vitality sensor and stuff like that, where you would clip, like, a heartbeat monitor to your finger, and it would, like, track your pulse and check your health and stuff like that. So this isn't even necessarily unprecedented for Nintendo to sort of be getting into, like, the health game a little bit. It's weird. I wonder if that's the angle they're taking with this. But either way, like, I don't want to go to bed and wake up with Pokemon. I just want to go to bed. I don't need Pokemon to help me sleep. I don't know. That's just such a strange announcement. So, this is a little more normal. They announced something called Pokemon Home, which is a cloud-based service that looks to unify the storage and sharing of Pokemon between platforms. So,
Okay.
essentially, they did something kind of similar to this on 3DS already called Pokemon Bank. You paid, like, a yearly fee. I think it was, like, I don't remember. I think it was, like, $10 a year or something like that. And it basically earned you a little bit of cloud storage where you could put your Pokemon up in the cloud and then download them from different games. So you could actually go back as far as, like, Red and Blue and put those Pokemon in the Pokemon Bank and take them into your Sun and Moon game, basically. So that was that. This seems to be sort of a kind of like extension of that. Specifically, they notate that it's going to work with Pokemon Bank, so if you have Pokemon in Pokemon Bank, you're going to be able to transfer them to Pokemon Home. And it's also going to work with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and it's also going to work with Pokemon Sword and Shield, and it's also going to work with Pokemon Go. So it's going to be just this unified platform of, like, cloud storage for your Pokemon no matter where they are. So, that's cool. I wonder if they're going to charge for it again. It seems like they probably will. I mean, maybe they won't. Maybe it'll come with the Nintendo Online subscription. That would certainly add some value to the Nintendo Online subscription, so that'd be kind of cool, but I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. They announced a new mobile game, so I know you're excited about this, because I know you love mobile games.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's called Pokemon Masters. The game will focus on the various Pokemon trainers throughout the series, both the anime and the games, and you're going to be engaging in 3v3 battles on your phone. So be hyped for that. That's supposed to come out this fall. I know you're ready for that. A development that you might actually be somewhat interested in, and I think you should be interested in, though, is their kind of quiet announcement that Detective Pikachu is indeed coming to the Switch. And in fact, it's not going to be a simple port or re-release of the 3DS game. It is going to be considered a new entry in the series that will finally be bringing a conclusion to the story. Because the 3DS game ends on a big cliffhanger, and there was going to be like a sequel to it. This is finally going to like tell a full, complete story. So
I see.
That's a game that I really think a lot of people, when it comes to Switch, I really think people should pay attention. That is a really special game. I really love that game on 3DS.
No.
It was really good. Like, authentically really good. The Detective Pikachu license in general is way better than it has any right to be. I loved the movie. I loved the game. It's just really good. It's just a cute little detective game. And it actually has a couple of like head scratchers in there, and it's just fun. Like, it's just a fun, light kind of game, and I'm really looking forward to this on Switch. I've been really kind of like looking forward to replaying it. So, yeah, no word on when that's going to be released, but I want to end the show, Todd, with a disappointing bit of Nintendo-related news. That does kind of put a damper on our free real estate that we thought we were going to have with Super Mario Maker 2.
Oh no!
Did you hear about this?
No. What's going on?
So it seems like, at least for the time being, Super Mario Maker 2 will not allow for online cooperative play between friends at launch. So, according to Nintendo World Report, this decision was made so that players would not be able to boost each other's rankings in the online leaderboards. However, as they point out, the game's online co-op mode doesn't even have leaderboards, and yet matchmaking still isn't allowed between friends in that mode. So you can play with randoms in co-op online, but you can't play with friends in co-op online. You can play co-op locally, you can play co-op between two Switches locally, but you cannot play with your friends co-op online. So that sucks.
I've lost all interest in the game.
Well, here's the deal. You can still play each other's courses. You can still make and share and play each other's courses. But you can't play co-op. So, at least not yet. Now, I firmly believe that they're going to add this functionality into the game. Firmly, 100%. You gotta think, the first Super Mario Maker underwent so many changes throughout its life cycle. There's no way they're not going to add this. I wouldn't be shocked if they added this in the first update for Mario Maker 2. And in fact, I've got a quote from Nintendo responding to this, and they even seem kind of sheepish even with their response, and the verbiage they use. Let me just read you this. They say, quote, "This is true. As the game is now," remember that, as the game is now, "you cannot create friend lobbies online. You can only play online with randoms. You can still get friends together and play with local play, and you're free to play with 4 players on one Nintendo Switch system. You can also still challenge your friends to your creations and take on their designs through course IDs and having them follow your Maker profile." So you can still play the hellscapes that I'm going to make for you on Mario Maker 2, and vice versa. We can still play each other's shit, but again, as Nintendo says, as the game is now, you can't create it. Now, I think they said that strategically. I really do think that it's only a matter of time before they patch in the online co-op functionality. It's going to happen. But for the time being, unfortunately, you're just going to have to deal with me making you horrible courses. But I think that's going to be a fun video series, though. Like, I make you just like fucking just prisons, just hellscapes, nightmares.
You can try, boy.
Just to see if you can beat them.
That's...
And I'll commentate as I watch you suffer. That'll be fun. Anyway, so that's mostly what I have. Now again, that's a little bit of a disappointment. It sucks that it's not going to launch with it, but I do firmly believe that Mario Maker 2 is going to get that. And besides, Todd, you've got single-player content with Mario Maker 2 as well. It's not like it's a solely co-op-focused game. Keep in mind, the game has a story mode now. You're going to have like over 100 Nintendo-based levels to tackle. Like, Nintendo's made over 100 levels using their own tools. So you got some stuff to do. And then you also got my bullshit to deal with. Let's wrap up this week, Todd. I want to throw you a wild card. I want to throw you a curveball. Does that sound good to you?
You can try, boy.
I want to throw you a curveball because I want to pull out. Let's just end the show this week. We're running a little long, but that's okay. I've missed you. I want to spend a little more time with you. So I want to throw out a curveball, and I want to pull out a topic from the vault. Are you ready for a topic from the vault, Todd?
All right.
I'm looking at my topics here. I've got a litany of topics here in the vault that I want to pull out. Just want to spend a little more time with you. Let's tackle this. What is your opinion on video game reviews?
I don't care for them.
Now, what would it take for a video game review to make you give a shit to read it or watch it, whatever?
Honestly, nothing. Because I prefer to make my own opinions.
Yeah, but so what do you... But is that entirely true? Because if you heard... Like, if you were excited for a game, like if you had heard, like, before Sekiro came out, if you heard, like, oh man, like, it's getting trash, it's getting, like, fucking, like, 2s and 3s, you would still buy it?
Yeah.
Really?
Because at that point, it was a From Software game. Still would have been hyped. Wouldn't have cared.
Okay, what if it wasn't a From Software game? What if it was like a game that you were only... If Rage 2, if you didn't have it pre-ordered yet, Rage 2 is getting slammed by the reviewers. Are you still going to buy it?
Still.
Really?
Yeah. I don't give a shit about reviews.
I'm surprised by that.
No, I don't give a single fuck.
See, I'm kind of two minds about it because, like, on one hand, I really like reviews from a writing perspective where I have certain people that I follow, right? Like, I think the stance you have to take with reviews is I think you have to sort of find somebody whose voice you relate to and whose opinion you trust, right? And I think in that way, like, there are certain things, even with you, like when you play a game that I know that you're more of an expert on, I trust your opinion on it, right? Mm-hmm. I'm like, let me wait until I hear what Todd says. Or even, I remember back in the day, I was so butthurt by Assassin's Creed 1 that Dan, he was all about picking up Assassin's Creed 2 on day one. I was like, let me know what you think. You know what I mean? And he bought it, and he played it, and he loved it, and he said, yo, like, this game is special. I think you're really going to like it. I think you should pick this up. So I think there's a level of that, where there are certain people whose opinions I trust on certain things. Like with you, like you know what I like in, like, Soulsborne games. Yeah. Like, if you recommend me a Soulsborne game, I know that it is something that I should listen to, right? That was what got me to start playing Bloodborne. Because I didn't buy Bloodborne at launch. I waited for you to tell me that, like, hey, like, this is something really special, right?
Still, to this day, my favorite game of all time.
So, it's interesting to me that was there ever a period of your life where you were into the review scene?
Not really.
Really? So even when you were a kid, you didn't really care? Never watched, like, X-Play reviews or anything like that?
I mean, I'm probably dead. They still didn't care.
Wow. That's surprising to me. There was definitely, like, when I was growing up, definitely a culture around reviews. Now, I wouldn't go as far as to say that a review, if there's a game that I'm really excited for or whatever, or a game that I already know is up my alley, a review is not going to affect my purchasing decision. You know what I mean? Like, if they came out and they said, like, oh, Borderlands 3 fucking sucks, that I would probably still buy it just to make my own opinion, right? But, like, if there's a game that I don't care about as much, that is getting slammed, I'm probably more inclined to actually, like, wait for a price drop. Which, granted, I do basically for all my games anyway. But I just think that there was definitely a time when reviews mattered more than they do now. And I wanted to ask you this, and this, maybe you don't really have an opinion on this. Maybe this is a bad topic. I guess I thought this would have been a better topic to bring up to you. But I was curious, do you have an opinion on numbered review scores?
I mean, what else could they do?
I'm of the mind that just like the reason numbered review scores exist is because they want to have something to put on the box, right? They want to have they want it to be a 9 out of 10. Yeah, this is a 10 out of 10. This is a 9 out of 10 or whatever. IGN gives us a 9.78 or whatever the fuck, you know?
I hate when they start doing shit like that.
I hate it too. I think it totally degrades the work. Like, it totally degrades the writing, like, of the actual piece. Like, if you're not actually reading the review, like, so many people I know just scroll down to the bottom of the review to see that number. You know what I mean? That number is all that matters, right? But they don't actually read the content of the review because, like, you and I talk about this all the time, right? The concept of a solid 7, right?
Yeah.
Like, you and I could talk about a game. What's a recent game that was a solid... Like Rage 2, I guess, again. You call that a solid 7.
Solid 7.
If you wrote a review and you talked about all the things you loved about the game, didn't love about the game, blah, 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 and people didn't read the piece and they just scrolled to the bottom and saw that you gave it a 7, they'd be like, well, fuck that game. And by the way, a 7's a good score.
Mm-hmm.
So there are certain games where I'm like, you know... whatever, it's a 6 or 7 or something like that. There are still things that I enjoyed about the game, and if you had actually read what I wrote, you know, you would know that. I think that the actual concept of review scores is really flawed. I've never liked it. I've always wished that we could do away with it as a society, but it's never going to happen. I respect that certain publications are starting to kind of grow wise to it. Like Kotaku doesn't do scored reviews anymore. I don't even think... I think Polygon dropped it as well. But I haven't read Polygon in God knows how long. But I don't know. I think that's an interesting thing. I think that numbered review scores and the impact they have on people's opinion and, you know, the way a game sells. Or the way they don't impact the way a game sells. I mean, look at Days Gone. Days Gone didn't get glowing reviews and it still sold, you know, very well.
Well, yeah, because there's nothing to play. But continue.
Well, yeah. Well, and also look at Anthem. Anthem was like dragged through the dirt, not even just by reviews, but by the fans, and that's still one of the best-selling games of the year.
Okay, I think people just want to see how the dumpster fire for themselves.
Yeah, it's funny, man. I wonder how much reviews really matter anymore, and B, like, are reviews shooting themselves in the foot?
The real question: does anything even matter?
Not really. We're all just gonna die.
Yep.
This is all just playing video games is all just a way to deal with our existential dread. That's really all it is.
Exactly. It's just a way to pass the time.
Now, if you'll excuse me, Todd, I'm going to wrap up this show, and I'm going to go, into ancient Greece and escape from this hellish world. That's all I got.
All right.
That's all I got this week. I wanted to pull a topic out of the wall. It's been a while since we've tackled the big questions together, Todd. I want to start doing that more.
Big questions. Oh, I pulled a topic out now?
Yeah, I want to start doing that more because I feel like especially lately, there's been so much news going on that, like, you take up an hour-long show just talking about the fucking news.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with, like, doing a quick little, like, 15-minute topic.
Yeah, just a quick little topic. Look, after E3, the news is going to dry up, right? And we're going to have to start pulling out some of these topics. We're going to have to start talking. Yeah. Talking about some of these big questions. I don't know if I want to do that. No, I'm just playing. Well, then, you know what? Nerd Bourbon's dead. Nah. Fucking, like, 2 years. Just, bye.
Greatest. It's still one of my favorite, like, inside jokes between us. Is, like, whenever something like that happens. Just Nerd Bourbon's over.
Just the most minor inconvenience. The most minor, like, disagreement. Nerd Bourbon's gone. Fuck it. It's over. Yeah, that's all I got this week, Todd. I think we're going to catch you next week. We're going to tackle some pre-E3 predictions. I've got several. It's going to be a packed show next week. We're probably going to have some even more news to cover, so fucking buckle up, kids. I suspect that next week's episode is going to be a long one, so we'll see you then. Thanks for listening. Get fucking dunked on. Bye.
See ya.
Hey there, thanks for checking out another fantastic Nerd Bourbon video. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, be sure to go ahead and subscribe, leave us a like, drop us a nice comment, or I guess a mean one if that's your prerogative. But until next time, get dunked on.